Of the European Poker Tour is done and dusted. Barcelona was great fun, sunny, cultural and sunny. This one though will be even better because it's coming from arguably the most famous city in the world and my hometown of Londres. An historic city deserves an historic casino, and the Grosvenor Victoria Casino in London, or just Vic to you and me, is just that. And an historic casino deserves an historic commentary team. Who else but me old muckers, John Duffy and Colin Murray.
Thanks, Caroline. I've never been described as historic before, but I'll take the compliments through where I can get it. So it is the historic Colin Murray, and the John Duffy's with me as well. And we're at one of the biggest casinos in the world, one of the best known, the Vic. It's a beautiful place for a beautiful game.
And poker's been running here for so many years now. It's just great to be here and great to be amongst such so many great players from all over Europe again.
Well, it's funny you should say that. Not only does the EPT go to the best venues around Europe, we also get the best players around the world. 236 players have entered here, and they've been divided into two. 118 players in day one and the same in day two. The final table is day three. So who's here in day one? Well, that's Hendon Mob's Barney Boatman and Ram Vaswamy. Pascal Perrault from France is here, as is Simon Trumper, good card name, and Barcelona champion Jan Bublé makes the trip. And there's still more to come. Check out who's on our TV table. The winner of the 2004 World Series of Poker, Greg Raymer. Well, proof if you needed it on your televisions that we get the best players on the EPT. But they don't come any bigger, proverbially and physically, than Greg Raymer. We know what he's done, we know what he's capable of. But how good a player is he in terms of poker's hierarchy at the moment as the game's exploded?
I mean, he's an excellent player, Greg Raymer, really, and also very, very good ambassador. Since he won the World Series title, he's gone on endless tours promoting the game. He figures very highly now. I think a lot of people will take great care of when he's at the table.
Is one of the problems that nice guys technically don't win poker?
That's not true.
Well, you haven't won in a while, and you're quite a nice guy. Anyway, Greg Raymer is at our featured table. The one we're going to go to, he can't sit there on his own, so who else is with him? So there's our featured table. Eric Koskis in seat one from France. Talking already. He's got a fellow countryman next to him in seat two. This is Heim Cocoon. And look at that in seat three. It's one of Busted's dads. It's Casper Dahl Hansen from Denmark. And we got a bit of English coming up in seat four. This is Richard Ashby at home in this casino. We've already talked about him, and here he is, the big man himself, Greg Raymer. He loves a good chat. Martin Hansen's got to listen to him. He's in the seat beside him, seat six. Another Danish player at our featured table here in day one. And this is Øystein Kristoffersen from Norway. It's seat seven, and completing our feature table, former school teacher turned poker player Dave Wall, another Englishman. Well, a nice mix of players here in our first feature table from London, John, and certainly slightly colder than it was in Barcelona.
And a bit wetter.
Be nice to get an early look at Jan Bublé, of course, who won in Barcelona. Do you think he spent all the money? I think his wife has.
I doubt it somehow. So here we are. Greg Raymer comes out raising straight away.
Blinds 50 and 25 is a raise of 100 on top of the big blind. Bit of a bluff from Raymer. He's suited, but the cards are fairly bad. But they were terrible for an eight-handed game. Koskis calls suited connectors. Let's see what he picks up. Well, he's picked up an open-ended straight. No one's hit anything in terms of any pairs or anything like that. 10 high, both players, John. Wow.
Okay, he's betting. So he's bet 150. It's a good bet with his, with his draw. Wow.
375 bluff from Raymer.
Straight away he's in there.
The fossil man bluffs. Wearing his trademark glasses.
Okay, now he's calling with his open-end straight, so Greg's trying to put him on a hand now. He's putting him on a weak pair maybe, or an open-ended straight. Wow, he's hit it.
And that's a big card. He's trap checks Raymer. See if Raymer makes another bet.
Clever, very clever.
Well, he's worried about all sorts of things now. You said Raymer might have put Koskas for calling after the flop on a small, weak pair. Then he'd have tripped fours now in Raymer's mind. What we know from seeing the cards is he's hit it straight on the turn. See how much he bets.
Eric bets 600.
Let's see if any of Raymer's four eyes can get out of this hand.
Well, we know he can't call because he's only got 9 high.
Absolutely. Take those glasses off.
Actually, he saved himself. A lot of players would have actually carried on with the bluff on the turn now. Greg managed not to.
Well, it was damage limitation for Greg Raymer. Let's find out more about him.
Greg Raymer, 41 years old, married 10 years, United States of America. And my nickname is Fossil Man. I've been playing seriously for 13 years. I first really played the game in any realistic sense in college, but that was still nickel, dime, quarter games. I mean, at the end of the night, the big winner, would have $20 US. So, this is the bracelet. It's the trophy you win for the 2004 World Series of Poker. Every year, all the World Series events give a bracelet to the winner, and the main event gets usually a nicer bracelet. So when I won, the design for the other winners was like this, only in gold without the gemstones. But since it was the main event for me, I get the gemstones and I get the platinum one.
And he's still talking. He likes to talk.
And what a nice bracelet that is.
Very nice guy, Greg Raymer. Very nice indeed. Casper Del Hansen with the King Queen.
It's a playable hand. Some people just call, some people raise. Let's see what he does with it.
Texas Hold'em, ridiculously big Scandinavian around those parts. You see a lot of them that are featured in final tables.
Okay, so he's raised it by 175.
CD Hansen. Which Hansen CD? Pocket bullets.
Look, try not to look as though you've got anything.
Martin Hansen from Denmark. It's the best pre-flop hand in poker in his possession.
Martin called 225 on the button.
Hansen's a PokerStars.com qualifier. He's getting some FaceTime and television.
Which one? So many Hansens. This is well, Gus isn't playing in this table as well.
Well, I'm referring, of course, to Martin Hansen. His aces are still good, and it's a perfect flop for him because our other Hansen, Mr. CD, he's hit the top pair and he's going to like it. And that's why he's going to bet it.
375.
Okay, so he's bet 375. Let's see what Martin Hansen
Actually make you pay to unlist it.
wants to do.
Is that what I did?
Yeah, you got to pay like a little extra every month to have your number unlisted.
Third card is
Hand's playing itself so far.
6 of diamonds.
Again, we're in the same situation, John, as we were after the flop. Top pair in the hands of Casper.
It's interesting that the Casper's checked this. I wonder if he's spotted that this guy, that Martin Hansen's got a big hand.
Casper calls 600. 2 players. River card is
See what it brings.
5 of hearts. Casper check.
So Martin has 2 pairs. Aces and fives. Fives are on board. Queen kicker.
I'd want to bet about sort of 1,200 into this pot, 1,300.
Martin bet 1,000.
Not far off.
Casper call.
Yeah.
Casper calls it and he takes him down there. Dial M for murder.
2 5s. 2 thirds. And Casper.
Good win.
Yep, good win, good hand.
Absolutely. No one played it wrong. Well, listen. If you didn't follow that, it's one of the most simple hands in poker. We'll tell you how to play now.
This, my lovelies, is how to play Texas Hold'em. Deal 'em flack.
On each hand, one player is on the button, which means they're the nominated dealer for that round. The button will then move clockwise to the next player after each hand. The two players to the left of the button then have to pay the small blind and the big blind. These bets are called blinds because the players have to kick off the betting blind of seeing their cards. Then everyone gets dealt two cards known as the hole cards.
Let's go.
Now for the first round of betting. Based just on these two hole cards, players can either raise if they like their hands, fold if they don't fancy it, or call, which means matching the last bet. Then comes the flop. 3 community cards are dealt face up in the middle of the table. Based on these cards, another round of betting begins, starting with the active player immediately left of the button.
Johnny bets 500. The devilfish calls.
Next, another community card is dealt called the turn card.
Turn card shows an ace.
And then another round of betting.
Oh. Johnny bets 1,000. And the devilfish calls.
Finally, the fifth and final community card is dealt, known as the river.
Now we see the river card showing a 3.
Then comes the final round of betting.
Johnny checks. And the devilfish bets 1,000.
The aim is to make the best 5 cards from the 2 hole cards in your hand and the 5 in the table. In this case, Devilfish had a 2 in his hand, making 3 of a kind, which beats a pair of jacks.
Fun for the devilfish.
With his usual hand.
Them's the rules. Let's see it put into practice. Big blinds 50, small blinds 25. No ante as yet. We've just told you about the blinds. And you watch it go from left to the big blind, and players will decide based on the position whether to fold, call, or raise. Watch the professionals do it now. Had a look. Pocket 5s for Raymer.
And Richard Ashby called the big blind with King 10. Fair enough. Early stages of tournament, everybody just calling and feeling their way around.
So he's got an ace in his hand with a fairly middle-ish card.
It's a fair enough play. He wants to take it down now. He's certainly got Richard off the King 10, but not got Greg off the pair of 5s, which is fair enough. I mean, Greg's looking to hit trips, in which case he'll get paid.
Let's have a look if he manages to do that. Well, he doesn't actually, and he's now been out-paired. Christofferson picks up the pair of 9s.
And he should come out betting here.
Top pair.
Yeah, I think that's the last we'll see of Greg, unless Greg puts him on sort of ace king or ace queen.
Absolutely. Well, the pot total at the time was nearly 1,500. It's now 2,000. Maybe a bit of value in hanging into this one. He's got to get rid of him now. Christofferson's got to get rid of him now.
I think he's got to bet again.
Big time.
If he had ace king or ace queen, he may want to check it here.
He checks it.
Nah, it's a mistake there.
He's given him a free card at this level, and the card's a 5.
Oh, wow.
We've just showed you how to play poker. That's not how to play poker. Christofferson checks the turn.
You see how
and lets Raymer in the door. Didn't he make a bet to try and get a read off Raymer? And he calls it. And he goes down to the full house. Well, I think we picked the wrong hand to tell budding new players to watch to work out how to play poker. Good win for Raymer.
5,000
A lot of chips this early on. And a lot of jewellery at any time.
And a little bit of luck as well.
Oh, the classic slow play. Christofferson shouldn't allow that to happen. I mean, that's the thing. He should have bet when he had the top pair in the flop.
Yeah, I mean, he got very unlucky. I mean, you know, Greg hit the perfect card on the river. There's not really that much you can do. He did bet it. He bet it out a little. You know, he bet out a bit, but unfortunately not enough. And Greg called, thinking that if I can spike a 5 here, then I, win a big pot.
It's all about giving people free cards or giving them cheap cards. I mean, you'll make more money as long as your hand stays good. But if you fall to a bad turn or a bad river, which happens all the time in poker, you're going to go down big time.
No, it's true, and I think you have to, if you have a big pair, you've got to be careful of overcards. That's the thing, If you've got a complete, a very, very strong hand on the flop, then you can afford to slow play. If you've just got a pair, if you see an overcard on the turn on the river, then you've got a real decision to make.
Well, listen, we got more from Greg Raymer and the world's top players on the PokerStars.com European Poker Tour after the break. Welcome back to the Grosvenor Casino for day one of the London European Poker Tour tournament. If you don't know your straights from your flushes, here's a crash course. Here in ascending order are the 10 possible poker hands, starting with a trash that you don't want to bet on. Then a pair, worth calling depending on your poker face. 2 pairs is better. But 3 of a kind beats him. Now you're talking a straight, a run of 5 consecutive cards in any suit. Better than that though, a flush, 5 cards, all of the same suit that don't have to run. A full house beats a flush, that's 3 of one number and 2 of another. 4 of a kind, it does what it says in the tin. A straight flush, 5 cards suited and running. But nothing beats a royal flush, suited and running to the ace. That'll win every time. And you may or may not, probably not be interested to know that I hit my one and only straight flush in this very casino. It paid. I actually won about £400 on it. Who did I win that £400 off, John, with the only straight flush I've ever hit? Oh, it was you, that's right.
Okay, blinds are up now to 50-100, just to change the subject.
Ace King for Ashby, one of 2 English players here in this feature table. He's in seat 4.
Okay.
Dave Wall in seat 8.
Okay, Øystein Kristoffersen has re-raised with a pair of pocket queens.
Slight favourite over the Ace King.
Okay, David Wall in seat 8 seems to be contemplating something here. Certainly, it looks like he's in a call.
3 players.
Pair, yep. There we are, pair of 8s.
Pot over 1,000 chips early on in day 1 here at the Grosvenor Casino, and that's a healthy pot pre-flop. 3 players. Wow.
Okay, that's a very good way to play Ace King. You play them like a big pair, or you just call. He's chosen to re-raise. So he's got rid of the queens.
Wow.
That's an incredibly strong fold early on in a tournament.
A foolish fold or a good fold?
It's a good fold as far as I'm concerned. If you think you're losing and you've got the willpower to fold, it's a good fold. He doesn't know that Richard Ashby's got Ace King. He could say, well, he's got aces or kings.
Oh, he's travelled down and he doesn't want to go home.
Yeah.
He wants to stay in. Okay. I think there's very few players would put down pocket queens pre-flop. It does take a hell of a lot of courage to pass those away.
That's true, but he should have just called him in that case, and if an ace or a king comes on the flop, then he can get away from it then.
Absolutely. If he knew he wasn't going to go in for a big raise, then maybe he shouldn't have raised it himself in the first place. That's the problem.
I agree, but he's raised to find out where he is, and so he chucks it away.
Okay, another hand. He must put those queens out of his mind if he's to play on. That could affect his game. Put them out of his mind, move on.
Okay, so David Wall's called 100 with ace deuce offsuit.
More of an Omaha player. Dave Wall does very well indeed.
A good cash game player, yeah. Koskas and Cocoon have both called 100 as well.
4 player pots. 5, of course, with Ashby as he checks. That's a pair for Ashby. There's 2 pairs for Ashby, you can't beat that. Nobody with a king on board, so Ashby, even 5-handed, a very, very, very strong hand here.
No, he's massive favourite now, massive.
And he's checked it.
He's trying to hope somebody's got a king.
Wow. Nobody hits anything. Oh, and the 7 comes out. Well, he's hit his full house at this stage, and he's even at this stage 100%. But what's he going to do? Checks again. He wants to catch somebody. He wants to see somebody make a bet.
Oh,
No one's fallen for it because that's not the point. Nobody's got anything. This will also worry Ashby because he knows a king beats him. Anyone got a king in their hand now, they win the hand. Kings and sevens is a better for ice than jacks and sevens, obviously. So he makes a tentative 200 bet. So someone's going to either bluff this, John, or everyone's going to fold, yeah?
absolutely. If somebody can figure out that he hasn't got a king and re-raise in this situation, it would be great play. But I think it's unlikely at this stage of a 2-day tournament.
Question is, how long do you wait?
I waited till I was behind, could be behind them.
And Ashby could have waited any time. He wasn't getting paid in that hand. Unfortunate.
You wait until you can't call a raise.
Yeah, that's right.
Well played.
Now let's go see what's happening in the outer tables with our Natalie.
The Victoria Casino here in London is a buzz right now, so let's go and see who we can find on the outer tables.
Thanks. Well, there were some early casualties. London boy Barney Boatman didn't have to travel too far for the tournament, and he'll still be in time to catch the last tube home after getting knocked out early. Good shot indeed. Bad day for bad girl. She's gone 2. Sometimes there's nowhere to hide when the Texas Hold'em Green Reaper comes calling. Pascal Perot knocked out by Cockney geezer Dave Shallow. And what about this? The champion of Barcelona, Jan Bublé, looking confident, but he's gone. Not this time, Jan. His King Jack doesn't hold up. Goodbye, mate. 30 of the original 118 from day one have already fallen, and they're falling fast. 118 in day 1, 118 in day 2, and then our final table in day 3, here in London. The players don't come any bigger than Greg Raymer. 2004 World Series of Poker champion, $5 million. Kasper Dahl Hansen from Denmark, qualified online, and he's hit King. That's good whether you're sitting at a table or sitting at a computer. Second best hand, pre-flop. Raymer's got pocket 3s. Kasper makes a quite predictable raise, obviously. And Raymer likes it because he's got pockets. He'll see, does he hit a 3 on the flop? If he doesn't, he'd probably be gone. Yeah.
Nice flop for the king.
Yeah, nothing really falling there. He wouldn't be hugely worried about too much at that stage. Kasper Dahl Hansen comes out betting again. And somehow through those glasses, Raymer can see him.
Wow,
Decides to call it, yeah.
Interesting.
Well, you need to hit a 3. And that's what you need to give a man like Greg. He needs luck like that. He's only one of the best players in the world. Trip 3s for Raymer, if you hadn't already noticed in the turn. And it turns this hand on its head. Greg hangs in, calls every time. Now he can afford to bet 1,000.
It's going to be so difficult for Hansen not to at least call this. The 3 looks like such an innocuous card.
Absolutely.
He's raised it 1,600 more. It's not surprising.
This could be the end. This could be the end for Kasper Dahl Hansen. You know, he could be going home very early. Wow. Raymer's re-raised him to get him all in. And he's called it. He's going to be going home unless he can hit a king.
Yeah, it's very difficult to read trips. Very, very difficult.
And he didn't, and he was 1 away from it. It's a queen, though. That's no good for him. Kasper Dahl Hansen from Denmark leads without even enough money to buy some more hair gel. Raymer earns chips.
I saw it was a queen instantly, yeah. It would have if I hadn't recognized it, but...
You missed it all, mate. Go away again, we're not going to want it.
You can add a little...
Raymer loves to talk poker. He doesn't insult people at tables. He's not a big mouth, but he likes to talk about the actual hands themselves, John. He's generally a true poker enthusiast as well. He's earning the money and earning the big bucks. Hasn't really changed his enthusiasm for the game. He just likes sitting around a table, money or not.
He's been one of the best world champions ever, really. He's just such a diplomat. He's a really, really nice guy. Very understated.
Pocket 4s for Christofferson. Wall passes. Let's see what Koskis from France has in seat 1. Haven't seen much action from him at all so far. He likes that.
Okay, there's a few callers here.
Himes here as well.
And Ashby gets...
Ashby calls in a small blind. Raymer checks the big blind. Ashby's in for the flop, and he just wants to have a look. And lo and behold, trip twos. And he checks it in first position. And it's Kristoffersson who bets out.
Which is fair enough with a pair of fours. He probably thinks he's winning at this stage.
And he'll fold almost everyone to the table, except for Ashby, of course, and that's what's happening.
Richard has just called here.
Raymer passes his cards away.
Trapping his opponent.
Okay. So let's see what Ashby checks again with the trip twos, and he's given free cards to Kristoffersson, who hits his full house. 2 fours in his hand, the 4 on board, and the 2 twos on board. It's a full house. It beats Ashby's trip twos. And he's been caught here. He's slow played the hand. He's been caught, John.
Yeah, I mean, look, he played the hand very, very well. He just got really unlucky on the river.
Well, if you're going to give free cards at any poker table, it's a higher risk. You're trying to maximise what you win, but it's a higher risk. Let's see how much he does lose out of it. What's the bet going to be from Kristoffersson?
Well, Richard can put this down. You know, he's a good enough player to be able to put this down now.
No, he's got to call it.
No, I think
he's checked it. He's checked it all this way to call a big bet.
It'll be interesting to see.
And in his head, this is what he's wanted. He's been wanting to trap check. Kristoffersson, he's going to have to call it. He's worried at the size of the bet, I'd imagine. Over 2,000 chips being thrown in by Chris's brother Oyston.
I think Richard can fold it. Yeah, you see,
he's folding it.
That is a very, very good fold.
Very good fold.
You know,
I thought he would have called it. I thought that's what he was looking for.
That is a hell of a good fold. I mean, he's a serious good player, Richard Ashby.
Well, some interesting play here in day one. And Kristoffersson involved in many of those hands. We've seen a lot of big hands coming up in the river. A very attractive dealer we've employed here in London. How long's she been working here, do you know?
A couple of years.
Okay, one of 2 English representatives here in a feature table on day one. Dave Wall.
I think he'll call at least with that, yep.
Greg wants to call their suited connector. Same suit, numbers running. And it's a raise in the big blind.
Yeah, and justifiable. He's got ace-jack.
Martin Hansen.
Yeah. He wants to take it down here.
Okay, this is what the European Poker Tour is all about. International battles around one table. Denmark, America, and England.
No, he's got a call. I'd rather have 7-8 than ace-5.
Let's see what the flop brings out. Of course, Raymer hits a 7 or an 8, and that'll give him something.
He'll probably
He's
hit
also,
the straight.
oh, wow. He's hit the straight out, and the top pair to Hansen means that he's going to like it and he's going to bet it. He's got the top pair with the ace kicker involved as well. Of course, he'll have alarm bells for the straight, but he's not putting Raymer on 7-8. He's not putting him on 7-8. Never in the months of Poker Sundays.
You know, he may think he's got Queen King.
2,000 to play. 1,475 more to mine.
Raymer plays with a smile on his face. And now the clinical stare. Very hard to read. Very few people can get a handle on what Raymer's got. Only we see it thanks to our cameras.
7 cards, 9 of clubs.
Well, another 9 comes out again.
Yeah, that's not a good card really for Hansen.
It's not at all.
River card, King of Hearts.
No, that's not a good card for Greg. He's scared of the Queen now.
And he checks it. And he shows his straight.
Yeah, it's an interesting play, that hand, because Greg, you know, flopped the straight. You know, it was very very interesting, and then came a few cards that could kill him, so he had to stop betting there.
And it didn't pay as much. Hansen gets out of jail. Raymer takes more chips. Well, there, but for the grace of turns and rivers goes Hansen. I mean, those cards really helped him to get out of a really sticky situation.
Yeah, they did. It could have been a lot worse for him than it was. I mean, Greg, flopped straight and could have got a lot more chips out of it. As you said, it came a few cards that could have slowed you down a little bit. But it's a good hand,
And at this stage of a tournament, we'll talk about it a lot, patience. And Raymer had it. He wasn't looking to cash in big time. When he's seen scorecards, he pulled out. This is a marathon, not a sprint.
No, I mean he's a very patient player, Greg. He's got a good chips now, already. He's had his share of luck, but I think we'll see him using those chips to his advantage. It's interesting to see how far he actually goes.
Good betting by Raymer, and the best bet you can make is to stay with the European Poker Tour. We're back for part 3 after the break. Welcome back to London. We'll get back to our main table featuring the one and only Greg Raymer, and we've been joined by a new player, Italian-Scot Tony Gerasoli, who's replaced Casper Del Hansen, the last player eliminated. Well, Big Tony's at the table. I love the look of Big Tony. Nice to have anyone with big before his name at the table. But for those novices that are using the greatest tournament in Europe to learn this sport, explain the rules of tournament poker.
Well, it's really, it's not that complicated. You start with a field of players. In this case, we've got 236 players. Now, sometimes you'll play in one huge great room, but in this case, the VIC's not that big, so we have 118 players on day 1 and 118 players on day 2. And then because you shrink down, because once you lose your original stack of chips, if you lose them, you're out. And so gradually we shrink down to 12 players on day 1, 12 players on day 2, and then start again on day 3. And then we eventually play to a final table and a winner.
Of course, the big money rolls in then all the time. The antes increase, the small blind and big blind increase as well, as do the excitement levels. Well, listen, we've lost 48 players already in the outside tables and on our featured table in day 1. 70 left, 9 tables in total. Big Tony's getting lonely. Let's get back. Tony Gerasoli. A poker player's name, if ever there was one, John Duthie.
Why don't you say it out loud a couple times?
I wish I had a name like that.
Give me the penalty and then I'll know it's bad.
I don't think you get a penalty.
Pocket threes for Greg Raymer. He's had a lot of pockets in day 1.
Yeah, they always seem to improve to trips, though.
Anyone want to come out and play with Greg? Maybe Tony will. Called by the Italian Scots. A raise by the Italian Scot. 1,300 more.
With a weak ace. Wow, Greg's cool. That's pretty impressive.
Let's take a look at this flop. Interesting. A strong bet could take this with so many hearts on board. Gerasoli goes 2,500, and so much to worry Raymer about. So much to worry him. And he calls it.
Wow.
Wow.
Without a heart in his hand. He's got middle pin straight draw.
Gerasoli's got top pair. Well, he's now got 2 pair, but it's another heart. I'll be interested to see if any player wants to blag the flush, because none of them have it. Gerasoli's went all in.
It's kind of suicidal bet, that, really, because if Greg did have the king of hearts, then he's going to get done.
It is kamikaze poker, but he's going to pull the plane up at the last minute.
As it is, he won the pot, because obviously there's no way Greg can call that. But it's kind of dangerous play. Maybe he thought it was the only way he was going to win that pot. So the small blind is 200, the big blind is 400. Slightly speeds the game up a little bit.
Nice to see Big Tony give Greg a metaphorical Glasgow kiss.
So everybody folds round, right round to Haim Cocoon. Bet.
There's Big Tony. Big Tony likes a bet, doesn't he? I love Big Tony already. He's only joined the table. There's something about him.
He does certainly like to play.
If you were his kid, you wouldn't disobey him, that's for sure.
And he's come out. He's re-raised up to 5,000 with Ace King of Diamond. That's fair enough. I don't think Cocoon can call this really. But then again, he's got very few chips.
Oh, he's had a go.
Yeah, I'm not sure about this.
Let's see what comes out for. Well, the Queen comes out for him.
Well, that's unfortunate for Gerasoli.
I'm saying that a jack puts Gerasoli in a great position. Obviously, it put him in a wonderful position because Cocoon would have the 2 pair. Gerasoli would have the nut flush, but as it stands at the moment, he's not in good shape.
Yeah, but it's difficult because his king's dead, you know, now. He hits his king. Cocoon makes a straight.
Absolutely. So Gerasoli needs to hit that ace. Or the jack.
I don't think he'll call this.
And he does.
I keep getting it right.
It's very hard to call Tony Gerasoli, it really is. Cocoon's all in as well, and he's going to double up.
Nobody's got any clubs.
Nobody's got any clubs. Absolutely, what a hand. Well, you know, you feel sorry for Gerasoli in a way, but in the last hand, he made a bet maybe he shouldn't have made. In that hand, he made a call he shouldn't have. He should have thought about it at least.
Well, no, I think he played the hand strongly, to be honest. The ace-king, I'm not sure that Cocoon should have really called the re-raise pre-flop.
Either way, he's cashed in, but he's not quite top of the chip count. That place is for Greg Raymer, World Series of Poker champion. Nearly 250,000 chips in front of him. There's Cocoon, second place, just behind him. Nothing in it, really. And Big Tony needs to be big, because he's propping up the chip count. So Raymer, he's been busy. He's been in a lot of the hands. Big blind now 400, small blind 200, and it's paid off for him because he's top of the chip count.
Yep, no, he does get busy. He's had some nice hands, but he's also been quite lucky too.
Again when he bet the turn or not, if I hadn't caught a set.
Okay, here we go. Everybody's folded round to Greg Raymer. Ace 3. See how he plays this. Okay, he's raised it 700, so it's 1100 to play now. See if he gets any action.
Wall's face. Maybe he's had enough of Greg talking. He hasn't shut up. Richard Aspey's been getting it in the ear in the seat beside him.
Okay, so Wall has called the additional 700 as he already had 400 in on the high blind. Greg's hit his ace.
Wall, though, of course, is on for the flush.
Yeah, he's got a straight middle pin straight draw and the flush draw. It's called Greg's bet. There it is.
Wow. Wall fills his straight. He's there.
He's checked it.
8, 9, 10, Jack, Queen. And Raymer smells a rat from 100 miles.
Yeah, that's a horrible card for David Wall. Jack of spades. Horrible.
Because the king now beats him.
But he's put in a feeler bet, a 1,500 feeler bet. Greg might pick up on this and back raise him.
And he has. That's exactly what he's going to do. And it's exactly what, and he's raised it by 4,000 on top of that. And
Dave's got a big decision. My God, he's folded.
He's folded
That's incredible. That's incredible.
From filling a straight, he ended up hitting the low straight with the 8 because of the jack in the river. Greg represented the king. World-class poker.
Wow, but David Wall folded so quickly. I mean, that's amazing.
So the big blind is now 600, the small blind 300. No antes as yet in day one. You'll see that creeping in as you follow the EPT.
That was, I must say, I'm still thinking about the last hand. Greg's re-raise there was absolutely incredible. It really was world-class play.
Yeah, but the question has to be, was he right to give his job up as a patent attorney to take up poker full time? I mean, he only won a competition that paid out $5 million.
Chicken feed.
You know, they'd keep people waiting for 20 minutes.
Okay, so Koskas is called. Big blind of 600.
In the free roll.
In the free roll. And then all of a sudden, after about 6 or 8
I love
hours...
Raymer's such a big game player. I mean, he's talking about a different game he played and just folds and keeps talking to the other player. And I think he's deaf in his left ear. He only ever talks to the player to the right of him.
Yeah, that's true. In the meantime, Hansen has re-raised, or actually raised, should I say, with ace, queen of diamonds. Oh, my goodness, Eric Kostas has called with 9-10.
With unsuited connectors, and that's a strange call. Let's see what happens.
Well, maybe he wants to win some money.
So Martin Hansen, we've seen a lot of him so far. And he's in good position in this hand. Let's see what the flop brings, though. And there you go. That's poker for you. Middle pin straight for Hansen's available, but it's Koskas who hits his pair.
Yeah, but he won't like the king, though.
No, it's how Martin Hansen chooses to bet this, I suppose.
Because he's whispering in David's ear that the mic down here isn't going to hear it. But the mic's picking up. It was on the TV show.
And he's went all in. 3,775 chips in the middle with absolutely nothing.
That's a strong bet.
And it's been called with a middle pair by Koskas. What a call.
Great call.
But there is outs for Hansen all over the shop at the moment. Aces will do, queens will do, a jack will do. And with a diamond in the table, a diamond will now do. The outs are piling up. Oh, he doesn't hit them. He doesn't hit any outs whatsoever. Good bet by Koskis, and well done. Trip 10s, we say goodbye to Martin Hansen. He's been good value here in the feature table, but I'm afraid his luck's just ran out. So Martin Hansen becomes the 53rd player to fall on day one. But the way this tournament works, as you already know, is we've got another 118 coming tomorrow. Forget 117 of them. One of them is the Princess of Poker herself, Isabelle Mercier, and we sent Caroline along for a chat.
Well, I'm here with the Princess of Poker, Isabelle Mercier. Hello. Hello. Or should I say bonjour?
Bonjour.
Bonjour, we can say both, can't we? My friend Colin, in fact, Colin Murray, who hosts this show, played against you in Monte Carlo, and he came off the table and he said to me, she scared me.
Yeah, I did, actually. I remember.
Why are you so scary on the table?
I think it's a winning point for me to be intimidating. I'm not all the time. Some people are not impressed by me, but the ones that let them being impressed, I really kill them. I really like that.
All in the eyes, I think.
Yeah, the stare down.
So what's the attraction to poker for you?
I played forever, really. I started when I was like 5 years old with my dad, so it's always been in my life. I like the challenge. It's very challenging. It's an infinite game. I'm never going to stop learning. And in my lifestyle today, it brings me freedom, and I can go around, play. And it's the first time I'm confronted with something that is so hard that I have to be serious about. This is the first time in my life, so I'm happy about that. Yeah.
You're the face of Poker Stars?
Yes.
How did that happen?
That happened when I won the World Poker Tour Ladies Night in September 2004. This is also when I got my nickname, No Mercy. Poker Stars management were there because Sharon Goldman was playing in the tournament, and I just destroyed the game. I was really, really so aggressive. I mean, I was almost shy being so aggressive. It was ridiculous.
Really?
So they saw me play, and they were convinced my best days were ahead, and they were looking, I guess, for a woman, nice woman. So we got closer really, really quick, and I'm very happy with that.
So what do you think of the EPT?
I love the EPT. I love playing in Europe. I mean, I've been living in Europe for a few years. I have a European soul. And I like the structure, the tournament structure. I like the atmosphere, I like the people in this community. I really am happy to be here. I'm looking forward for all the other events. I hope I grab one of this title this year. I really want to.
Well, we wish you all the luck in London, and we'll see you very soon. Thank you.
Thanks. Au revoir.
So funny. Isabelle's going to be playing in day 2 in London. Loads of other big names taking their seats tomorrow. That's Ferriolo, you'll know him well. That's Abacassis, Cabage, Shipley. So many big names. Noah Boakin, you know his face. EPT winner of late. Stevic, he usually makes the odd final table. Luca Pagano, another familiar face in the EPT. And none other than World Series of Poker champion Chris Moneymakers at the Grosvenor Casino tables. That's all in day 2. Meanwhile, we've got a new feature table in day 1. 118 players started this day at the Grosvenor Casino. Loads of names to introduce you to. Mamoul Gilles is in seat 1 from France. Next to him, well, you never want this man next to you. Simon Trumper, aces himself from England. And what do you always get in a good joke after an Englishman? You get an Irishman. In this case, it's Paul Roper, known only as Hangman. Don't ask. Then we go to Wales. Dave Colclough, well known in this casino and well known in the poker circuit around Europe and indeed the world. Then it's Richard Grieco, another English player, the biggest headphones you'll ever see at a poker table. Gusten Coburg from Sweden is in seat 6. 8 players at this feature table to get used to. And in 7th, Sven Polarski from the Netherlands. We stay in Europe for the final seat. Kirsten Greenie from Norway. Kirsty Greenie, lovely name.
My name is Kirsty Greenie. I'm 34 and I'm Norwegian, but I live in Denmark. I used to play handball and always loved playing cards, and saw poker on TV and tried it. got lucky in one live tournament, and then I got some attention, partly because they was known at the time, and that I'm a girl, I think. You need to have some balls to play against these guys. I like winning, and I just don't think the guys have any advantage. I think girls can be just as good. You just have to prove it.
Still a lot less female players playing poker at this level. It's law of averages that more men are going to be at the table. That's it. Not a huge amount of difference, though.
No, it's true. Okay, the running ante of 25 has been introduced now.
I actually think men are turned on by different aspects of poker than what turns women on about playing poker.
Yeah, you're probably right, Colin.
You just don't want to get into that, do you? You want to watch this hand. I want to talk about the difference between male poker players and female poker players. Well, this male poker player has a decision to make. And Pilarski raises an extra 1,800. King Jack suited. Perfect timing for this to happen. Greenie goes all in.
Yeah, she's kind of got to, really. She's so short stacked, and with the blinds at 400, 800, you know, she's got to take a gamble with this hand. Fair enough. And here they go on their backs.
So it's not just that she's rubbish because she's a woman then, no? Pilarski calls.
I might bump into her again.
Well, you might bump into her very soon. She could be walking past this commentary box.
Not at the moment, she's not.
Not at the moment.
She's looking good.
It's looking very good so far.
The diamonds and the nines.
Well, she's ended up with trip nines. She had a flush draw as well. There was straight possibilities that weren't hit, so Greenie doubles up. Hey ho, another hand. Big blind at 800, small blind at 400. Ante's now involved as we get through day one. Just 25 though.
And Richard Greico with a pair of twos under the gun, as they say, which is the first position after the big blind. Okay, he's just called the 800.
Ireland's Paul Roper in the small blind, Dave Colclough in the big blind. Nice shirt.
So Pilarski's called the 800. See what Simon Trumper does here on the button.
Mamo Giles wasn't interested either, but nice wardrobe.
And Dave Colclough checks on the big blind.
3 players, let's have a look at the flop. Okay, so it's the bottom pair for Pilarski.
Open-ended straight for Colclough. Oh, he's all in. He's taking a punt.
Wow.
Fair enough.
And who's going to call it?
Probably no one.
Such an even money shot.
Is that a trick with your eyes? Jeez, who can do that?
It's when I'm nervous, that's when they go.
Really? Can you show it?
He does it every time he flops a set.
It's a poker show, not a freak show. Make a call, Pilarski. Sven from the Netherlands calls it. Colclough will now need to hit this straight. We're looking at a 6 or a jack.
Or
a 9 or a 10 will do it as well. He has got a lot of outs here, it has to be said. He's got a lot of outs, but he's running out of space to hit it. Just a river to come, and indeed it is the 10. So he doubles through and he stays alive. The Welshman does well. Pilarski made the right call, but there you go, that's poker. Colclough, all eyes for those chips. Well, sometimes you got to be good, sometimes you got to be lucky. You be lucky and join us after the break. It's the EPT second leg, second season here in London. And not only can you qualify online, but if you do, you also get a free lunch and you get your chance to rub shoulders with the best and get some tips.
They're fine people, so nice to have a little chat with them.
I've been to London a good few times, but mainly on business, never to play poker.
I qualified online with the $13 Super Satellite and then went on to another bigger tournament. If I win this, it'll be $13.
So how are the qualifiers doing? Graham Clarkson's doing well, but Patrick Powers, all the way from the US of A, is on his way home.
$13 to come to London and see all the pros and play with all the pros. It's a good time.
Also going home to the States, PokerStars qualifier Chris Cole, knocked out by London boy Ramvaswamy, the bully. Just 47 players left in day one. Let's get back to the main table. And what a nice main table it is. Loads of different players from all over Europe battling it out. Big blinds are now 1,200, small blinds 600. Everyone before we start puts in 50 chips. That's why the pot total is 2,200.
You're going to see the small, you've got to see people start to get involved now. These, small blind and big blind are quite high, so you've got to start playing, especially with your small stacks. Like it looks Chersty's about to.
Kirsty Greeny has raised all in with suited connectors very high. They are indeed. King, Queen.
Oh, that's a fair enough bet.
Well, she must have a line to the commentary box. Okay, that's interesting. Gilles moves all in as well.
And that's a fair enough call as well.
Of course, he's got much more chips, but he's made an all-in bet, so obviously it's a lot more for anyone else to call that now.
Yeah.
If no one else calls it, he'll get part of that back.
Absolutely. Simon Trumper made quite a good laydown as well there with King Jack of Hearts. I mean, he doesn't really have to call and damage himself too much.
Absolutely. A healthy chip count at the moment for him. Whereas Kirsty Greeny really did need to go all in at some stage. She's done it on King, Queen suited against Frenchman Gilles and his pocket nines. Nothing yet of any note.
Nines are still winning.
Greeny's 2 cards away from going home. She's now got ahead of Queen or a King, and there it is. There you go. And as you said, she needed to get busy. She was short stacked. She's done just that, and she's doubled up.
Lucky for her, unlucky for him. He looks kind of miserable.
Well, he has no complaints whatsoever. He made the right call with the pocket nines, and she made the right bet because she was short stacked with the high suited connectors. Everything else was in the lap of the deck. Why have such a small personal stereo and such big headphones?
Okay, here we go again. Right, so Richard Gryko's on the button.
Love him in EastEnders. Brilliant.
Ace 5.
She passes that. She's had enough action there.
Round to Paul Roper. Passes. Dave Colclough folds. 10-6 on the button. Suited.
$28.50.
Okay, so he raises it 16.50.
Gustin Koberg making the decision. We haven't seen him since we introduced him. We don't see his cards yet. Hands to the enjoyment. Let's see the bet first, and then we'll look at his cards. Well, he's raised all in with a 7-9 unsuited.
He's just taking a real shot here, hoping that Gryko was bluffing or just trying to steal the blinds, in which indeed he was. And Richard Gryko can't possibly call.
There you go, he's been caught. Good hand by Koberg.
Yeah, it's well played, well judged. But it's like I said earlier, Colin, is that at this stage of the tournament, once the blinds have gone up, you have to get busy.
The lesson of the smaller headphones. Well, let's look where the only lady is in the chip count. Greeny in 6th place, nearly 10,000 chips. Leading the way, though, it's our man Richard, over 35,000. Just behind him then, 10,000 chips shy of him, is Wales' finest, David Colclough, and one of Britain's finest as well. The man with the trick of the eyes. Colclough choosing a bit of music as well now, not much chat at this table.
He folds.
Mainly because Greg Raymer isn't on it. He usually cuts the chat down significantly.
Ryko folds his ace-10. 8-10, sorry. Ace-10 might have been a bit different.
Kohlberg's gone. And another all-in from Greenie.
Greenie?
She's all in. Ace-Jack suited.
Yeah. Simon Trumper's in as well.
Okay, Aces is all in. Simon Aces Trumper goes all in. Slightly shy chip-wise of Greenie's total. So she loses this hand, she won't be going out and she's going in. Big underdog. See if anyone else wants to get involved in this hand.
They've got exactly the same chip count as well.
Greenie shows the ace-2. Trumper will like the jack-ace because he's all in. Greenie will get some chips back regardless. Nothing so far to help. Well, it doesn't help Greenie at all. Not at all. And if you just go on high cards alone, Trumper, the jack gives him the hand at this stage. And in fact, it will do unless she hits a 2 on this card. It's the only card for Greenie. It doesn't come out. She's got very few chips left, and Trumper doubles up. Nice hand. Played itself, John.
Yeah, it did, pretty much it did. I mean, Greenie's been left with just the fewest, smallest chips possible. It looks like she's got about 1,500 left.
And the rest of her chips are in front of Simon Aces Trumper. He's been quite quiet in this final table so far, but he's starting to come into the action. And more of that after the break.
Here at the Victoria Casino in London. Let's cross now to our top table and our commentary team of John Duffy and Colin Murray.
Thanks, Natalie. Day one then, 118 players started. We've culled them. Another 118 tomorrow, and then final table will be day 3 at some stage, hopefully. Gustin Kohlberg in the white shirt.
Looks like he's going to make a move here. And blinds of 800 and 1,600. That's a lot. He's going to have to get busy, and Ace-Queen is the kind of hand that he wants to be getting busy with. Oh, Chersty's come in as well. Chersty Greenie, she's moved all in, but...
Just for 900 chips.
Well, she's going to have to move in with almost any 2 cards, really, now.
She's only got another couple of cards to actually see.
Yeah.
And she'd probably be going all in there by not out of choice.
By being in the big blind, yeah.
Yeah, on worse than that.
Yeah.
So it's an obvious call, and good luck to her. But she's up against Kohlberg's Ace-Queen. It's not going to be easy.
Have a chance.
She has a chance, she says. She's right, and that's all it is.
She's taken a punt. She did it earlier. She beat the 9s earlier on. She could do the same again.
Let's see. First card is a king, so she's... Oh,
no.
Bad luck indeed. Well, listen, let's see what happens.
Has she got any spades? No.
King or a jack, what's she need? Oh, what a shame. What a shame it's not a jack of spades or a king of spades.
Could be a split pot.
It could be a split pot indeed, but it isn't, unfortunately. Aces and 3s beat aces and kings every time, no matter where you're playing in the world, and it certainly beats it on the EPT. Well, let's find out more about the man who took Greenie's chips, Gustin Kohlberg.
My name is Gustin Kohlberg and I'm from Sweden. I'm 20 years old. I like to play music, play a lot of drums and guitars and stuff like that. I started about 4 years ago on the internet. I think I'm better online because I don't have the experience in live yet, but the big players, and they talk a lot often. I just listen to my music and I don't listen so much, but it's a great experience to see them play and see how they act at the table, and it's fun.
Poker is fun. Ram Vaswani joins the table. Now, Vaswani is one of the Hendon mob, and for me, to be honest, in the last year, the best of the Hendon mob here. A very talented bunch of people. Love watching Vaswani play. He is a watcher. He reads players so well.
Oh, for sure, yeah. He's certainly one of the best players in Europe, without any shadow of a doubt.
Nobody wants to see him sit down at the table. He's a family man as well. Really nice guy to talk to. Ace-king suited for Gilles. And he's went all in that, obviously. And as you said, John, at this stage, players need to get busy. Trumper's been doing okay. This would dent his stack.
He must have a pair, yeah, a pair of 8s.
Calls it with a pocket pair. Will go in 52% against Gilles' Ace-king.
Uh-oh.
Oh, pocket kings.
Wow, we got some big hands here. This is going to be interesting.
See what Richard Greiko bets.
Well, he's got to raise to get Trumper out here, you know.
If he wants to get rid of Trumper, he's going to have to raise. There's nothing he can do about Gilles, because Gilles is all in.
It's just a question of how much. That much.
And he does exactly as John predicted. Another 12,000. Trumper and pocket 8s. Oh, we got pocket queens now as well.
My word.
Coburg's on pocket queens.
This will. If Coburg calls this, he's all in, and he's, you know.
Wow.
It's not looking good.
There could be bodies everywhere at the end of this hand. If the best hand holds up, there'll be bodies everywhere. All in 21,700. Wow. Gilles already all in, don't forget. Wow. Trumper wants no part of it with pocket 8s, and he knows there's bigger pairs in the pocket ahead of him.
Oh, he can smell them.
Oh, the stench, we can smell it from here.
4, 6. Justin chose queens, queen and half, queen of gentleman's pot.
What a hand. There's hardly any paint left in the deck, John.
Kings, queens,
It kind of plays it. To be honest, this kind of hand plays itself, really. I mean, as long as an 8 doesn't come on the flop, because Simon would hate that.
Oh, nearly. Okay, we've had 2 9s and a flop and a 4. It means absolutely nothing at this stage. As I said, bodies everywhere. If Greiko's pocket kings hold up. It's not a queen, it's not an ace. They're the only 2 cards that can harm him going on the river. Stand up, boys. It's an ace! Gilles hits the ace. Greiko takes a hit and Coburg goes home. Pocket queens, as you said, John. He did absolutely nothing wrong. Say goodnight, mate. What a hand.
Yeah, a very good hand. I mean, Richard Greiko played it totally properly, you know, and just got unlucky. It's horrible when it hits you on the river like that.
Well, at least he got some chips back from that hand as it worked out the sizes of the stacks and the bets made. He didn't lose everything he put in.
That's true. Okay, so the button on Dave Coldclough. Okay, Gilles passes, round to Simon Trumper. He'll fold that, I imagine, yeah.
Gilles' heart will still be pumping in his chest.
Poor Roper, we haven't seen... I mean, he can't even go all in with that hand, poor Roper. He's 5 deuces, obviously having some really bad hands. So Coldclough calls on the button with 8 queen offsuit. You might get a little raise here, I think.
Let's have a look.
King Jack of clubs for Richard Greiko in the small blind.
Seen so much of him this day. He's had cards he could play with. He's played hands well, and see what he does.
That's interesting. It's just called.
It is interesting, see, because he's going to be giving free cards to a big blind no matter what the hand is. It's 10-8 offsuit, and he's going to check that, and he gets a couple of free cards. Polarski. Interesting that he didn't raise. And that's the reason. Okay, he's on a flush draw. But of course, Coldclough's hit his pair of queens. He's hit the top pair. And he's going to have to pay to try and hit that flush draw now. If he... Certainly, well, I suppose you play your hand the way you want to play your hand. Coldclough makes the bet, as you'd imagine. He's hit the top pair. 5,000 is the bet. He's going to make Greiko pay to try and hit his club. Of course, kings will also be the out for him.
Yeah, Greiko's raised 18,000 up to 23,000.
Goodbye, big blind. Polarski buys out, no wonder.
I think Coldclough's got to call here.
There's a man who's been playing poker all day, the heavy sigh.
Yeah, it's a man who... Playing poker all day is great if you're hitting cards. If you're not hitting cards, it's pretty exhausting.
Of course, he would be worried because if Greiko also had hit top pair, he'd be worried about the kickers involved here. He's only got an 8 in his hand. So he's got a lot to think about. Little does he know that at the moment, Greiko is nothing.
Well, he's just trying to work this out now. Is he on a draw?
Exactly. And he is. It's a toss of a coin almost.
I still think he's got to call.
He has to, and he
Yeah,
does.
yeah.
All in. Can't quite cover Greiko, but not far off at 45,100 chips up for grabs.
Oh dear.
And the king comes out for Greiko. We said that was the other possibility on top of the flush draw. He needs an 8 to come out, or indeed he needs a queen to come out, and he's hit the queen. There you go, seesaw, seesaw. Put your coat back over the chair. Coldclough's going nowhere. Very pleased for him, well done.
It's kind of justice in a way. He was winning.
I didn't believe it myself when it came out, but those chips in front of Coldclough tells everyone he needs to know that it's true.
Simon Trumper's girlfriend. Okay, here we go. Antes, blinds, still the same, 600, 800, 1600, should I say, with a running ante of 2. I think Paul Roper's got to play this hand now, Colin.
Hardly any chips in front of him, and he's
very few.
Raised to 4,000, which is an extra 2,400.
Well, Dave's obviously got a hand. I haven't seen it. Didn't catch it there. Be interesting to see. No.
Nothing more than a fondle of the chips.
Maybe he felt what that happening behind him. You know.
Yeah.
Maybe he felt the ace king behind him, sandwiched between an ace king and an ace 4.
So Richard Greiko with a hand to play with. Let's see what he bets. It's looking very much like all in, and it is. Hungarian Novak Estevan's now joined the table. And he folds that near the end of the day. Hands over the face. He's lasted all day here. He wants to be around. He wants to stay in this one. Okay, Houston, we have a caller.
Richard chose ace king of hearts against Hangman's ace 4 of clubs.
She said yourself, Roper's hit very little all day. He's went in probably the best hand he's had for a while.
And a made of hearts.
Still no good.
Nothing really to help him so far. He's looking for a 4 to come out, unless he does runner clubs. That will give him, of course, the flush. Let's see if it's interesting. No, it's a 3. It's no good to him. Roper needs to hit a 4, and ace is no good, of course. He'll be out-kickered. And the river is? No, absolutely no good to him whatsoever. Well done, Greiko. He's added his chips. But it's goodbye to the hangman himself. Paul Roper's gone, the last man to leave the TV table in day 1, and there's his executioner. Well done, Richard Greiko. It's been a really good day here in day 1, but the hangman goes. No stave execution.
Talk to us about the tournament as a whole. Have you enjoyed your experience?
Oh, absolutely brilliant. Do it again next year. Can't wait for it.
But back home to Sligo to play a few home games?
Yeah, I play in O'Donnell's pub in Clifton. I play with Michael Corrett, Mick McGowan, Derek Hardy and Francie O'Connor. And Burnham sure is putting on a pint of Guinness for them all right this moment in time.
And they say I talk fast.
You do talk fast.
You'll never criticise me again. He was a speed reader, quite basically. So the hangman's hung. Horrible time to go out, really. He's worked all day and he's told to get down towards the last 20 or 30 players of day 1. Your heart has to go out to him.
I mean, he's very. I feel quite sorry for him, but he doesn't seem that bothered about it. He's very happy. Got all the friends' names back home in, and he's played very well, I think.
He didn't give a shout out to his horse, though. That has to be said. Well, listen, we do it all again tomorrow. Day 2, another 118 fresh-faced players. We get them down to 12. They come back in day 3. I'm right so far.
Yep.
So all we need is 12 finalists from today. to go forward and play for big money, as Bruce Forsyth might say at some stage. We haven't got down to 12 yet though, so let's get back to the tables. It was the end of a long day, but for some it ended better than others. London's Mark Telcher ended the night as chip leader, winning some big pots along the way. Norway's Jonas Helnes ended the night with his second most chips, and Russia's Kirill Gerasimov is dangerously placed with the third most chips at the end of day one. Not coming back for the final day though, Peter Eichhardt, Simon Trumper, and the last man out in day one, the big one, Greg Raymer, misses the cut.
Had gotten extremely lucky in one hand that helped me build up that big stack of chips, but a couple of unlucky hands, and there you go.
Well, we'll miss him, but we won't miss the glasses. Here's 12 big names for you to look out for then for the rest of the EPT in London. We told you about the first three, then there's Dave Shallow from England, the USA's Dan Burke, and England's Ram Vaswani. He's on his way back. Look at this list. Big Tony Grisoli, you remember? The Italian Scot, he's coming back, as is Greco and Ireland's Frank Callahan.
Day one wrapped up, but the good news is we still have 2 days left of high stakes hold'em here at the London Victoria Casino. Right now though, I think it's time for bed, or I might go and play a quick hand. See ya.